In this video, which is part 44 of the Coinmarketcap chart for Chartjs, we're going to work on creating basically the continuation of the tooltip of line 2 and line 3. We're going to put in the price value, we're going to put in the value itself, and we'll make sure that the value is dynamic as well as we move. Of course, we don't put yet the icons, that will be in the next video, but we're going to focus on the preparation of the second and third line. So now it's time to continue on with the second line, and what we're going to do now is to put in 3 items in the second line, and eventually we can do also the third line. So which is basically a colored dot, we have the text, and then we have another part of the text. So there's 3 items per line. So let's start to do this one now. So first of all, we're going to scroll down here, go to our custom tooltip here, and within here we can just copy one of these items here. What I'm going to do is I'll just copy this one. I'll put in here line 2. This is the second line, and this should be the colored dot. The colored dot, I will use a different structure for that, so I will just put something very basic in here, and then I will leave it as it is. So what I'm going to do here is we have this, left, baseline, middle. This is fine, and then what I will say here as a text, I'll just put in here a circle, a large O, and then we have all of that. That's fine. But the tooltip here, because we go to the next line, what I want to do is I want to go down. Well, if this is 12 pixels, so we have the first line, we can give it 15 pixels, and the next line again 15 pixels, so 30 pixels here. Or, well, a bit more, I guess, because it's 10. So 10 by plus 20, that's alright. So if I save this now, let's see what happens. So if we do this, alright, interesting, it doesn't show yet, so let's see what is going on. Of course, we need to make sure that this is a string value and not a constant or any value. There we are. So now you can see we have this, and this will be eventually the dotted color. We could draw that directly in the canvas, so we can use it as a canvas item, but I decided not to do that, and the main reason I want to use the font awesome icons, and the reason for that is and especially for many people, they might have different icons they want to use on other shapes, and the font awesome icons, if you know how to do that, then you can do any shape you want instead of learning how to draw directly a shape in the canvas, which is also quite doable. But if you want a different shape, learning how to draw that can be more complicated. So that's why I'm doing this. Anyway, so we have that one here. So the next one, once we have this, I'm going to put in here, enter, enter. I'm going to say here, this will be the second line, and this will be the basic text. And what is this text here? Well, if you look at the Coinmarketcap, we have the text of the colored dot, and besides that we have the price, which is a price text, and that is just a grayish color. So instead of this, I'm going to grab here the light gray. That's this one here. Not there, but light gray for this. And maybe don't make this bold. That's fine. I'll just keep it 12 pixels. And then I'm going to say here, this is, instead of the text dot, this is the text price. And I'm going to just change this into price, like that. Save, refresh. So if I do this, you can see right now it's on top of each other because we need to give it a certain amount of padding or positioning more to the right. So in this case, I think having maybe 20 pixels, so it's a 15 pixel space between there, should be sufficient. There we are. So that looks decent. So what I want to do now is I want to put in the other text besides it. But for that, I'm going to make this soft coded, because right now this is hard coded and that might not be desirable. So what I'm going to do here is ctx, or let's say here constant, and let's call this our price text. And the price text is just simply price column. That's it. But then what I want to do is I will need to measure the width of this item. How many pixels in width is this? So that later on, if we put in the next item besides it, it will automatically calculate that for us. So we can put it there and it should be all fine. So, or else we have to estimate by adding an item here. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to say here this, then I'm going to say here ctx dot measure text, and the measure text will be, this of course needs to be constant. I'm going to say price text width equals, we have that, and I'm going to grab this, put it in there. So we say this string value, or basically this here, is a string value of price. Please calculate the width. So we say dot width. Once I have that, this later on will become very useful. Because right now we don't need that because we have this here. If I save that, refresh, nothing really happens here. But now I'm going to copy basically this, and I'm going to put in here text line 2, and I'm going to say here the price value. Put that in there. Now we have here the text align, that is fine. Middle light gray, I'll make this back white, and I'll make this bolder again. So we have this here. But then here, the price item here will be a specific value, and the value will of course depend on our index. So remember, we had this here. We had this date cursor here. Sorry, not in there. We get this, the index. This is the index value. So I'm going to grab this. And what I want to do here, first of all, is we're going to say here for the price, that would be, what is that? Is that the numbers? I guess it's the numbers. So I'm going to say here, numbers, index, and then the index value would be this index. So if I do this, and let's put in here 50 for now. If I save that, refresh. Oh, we don't need that one. Let's refresh again. Hover over it. As you can see here, we get the price. We get a full price here. And you can see here, this is 50 pixels. That looks all fine, but maybe we don't want that because we need some padding between there. So what I'm going to do here, instead of 50, I'm just going to grab here now the price width. Copy that. Put that in there. Save. Refresh. And as you can see here now, alright, interesting, it is matching like that. So we need to just double check what is going on here. It is, of course. So the reason why this is because 20 here was related to the dot. So I need to have the dot and that. So here, so we could say here maybe, that's what I want to do then. Maybe this will be 15 or 5, and this will be plus dot. So we say 5 plus, and what I'm going to do here is the following. Constant dot space equals 15. So then I'm going to grab this, put it in there, and then I'm going to say here 5 plus dot space plus price text width, save, refresh. Oh, alright, interesting, we get an error here, so double check. Let's see, of course, here, make sure you do plus, save, refresh. Alright, so now we get this, and you can see here there's a perfect amount of space matching, except that our value or our price value is just not really suitable. Look at this here, it shows here too many numbers or digits. So what I want to do here, first of all, I'm going to put in here a dollar symbol. So we're going to concatenate this, we say here plus, and then we're going to say space between here, and this here need to have a fixed number. So I want to have 2 decimals, so I say dot 2 fixed, and then how many decimals I want to show? No, 2 items. Save, refresh. Alright, so there we have it. You can see here the numbers are matching nicely, and you can see here if you have 344, alright, yeah, that's correct, because it would depend on the value of the dot, not the value of whatever we have here. So that's very important. So let's see, and if I go here, interesting, only this part here is slightly off. That's alright, but everything else works very, very nicely. So the reason why it's off here is probably because if I go here, you can see here, let's do this, move that, you can see here we have some white space here, and probably it just cannot calculate this. Interesting, when we zoom in, it does calculate, although it's slightly off. And for that, that is with the interpolation, that's a real tricky one. For that one, you have to really fine-tune the calculation of the pixel, or maybe you need to be even more precise than a single pixel. It must be even lower than a single pixel. Anyway, I will not go into that anymore because that was a topic I covered previously and it's so complicated. We'll leave that for as it is for now. So we have that. Next one, what I want to do is I want to duplicate this, but now our duplication will be based on the third line. Copy that, paste, line number 3, and this would be, I guess, the color dot or color icon. Now this will be just eventually an icon. So I'll leave this as this is, or maybe icon space or dot space. Well, we can say here icon space. Alright, so I'll just leave that as it is. This one here will be different because now it's quite easy. We can just say here, for example, value, quantity, stock, whatever you want. So I don't know exactly what is the case of it, so you can see that, or you can use that as you can put any text you want here because it's already dynamic. What I want to do, I do notice this. You can see here I have the price here. I want to put this price just in here so it's dynamic. Alright, so then I go down here, icon space, and here what I will say here will be the value text width, and whatever we would have more. So we say here value text. So I'm going to say value, could be anything you want. I know in the Coinmarketcap it says 24-hour value, etc, etc. Copy this, put that text in here. Now we have no more dot space but value space, and same here. I'll make this value space. Oh, that was the dot space. Sorry, the dot space should not be value space. What it needs to be is the icon space. That's my bad. It's for the icon. This one have icon plus whatever would be the value text width. That is this one here. Alright, so it's exactly the same except third line. So let's make this 50. Put here 50. Save that. Refresh. Alright, so as we do this, you can see here we get that. That looks absolutely beautiful. We could even do some additional padding at the bottom, but I think this is a quite decent size. So this is fine. So then what I want to do here is, I want to make sure the icon. Let's see here, fill text, maybe here quantity or something like that. I'll just remove that. Save that. Refresh. Let's double check again. Why is the icon not showing? And the icon here, icon space equals this left. Oh, of course, because this is 50. Save that. Refresh. There we are. So this looks quite nice. And if we scroll up here, we have here probably everything fine. Let's see here. I realized I did, while I work on it, I did a tiny adjustment. I just realized it as well. That's why the size is perfect. And I remember in my previous video, the size was here below 80. So what I did was adjust this from 80 to 100. But because of that, we need to increase this by an additional amount of 20 or 30. So I put this was maybe 70 or something like that, or 60 or 50. Put that up to the right size of 80. So, and this one here, whatever this is, just make sure you match these numbers here. This is very important. And then I think here above, do we have anything else? We're going to the size of the rectangle. I don't see anything else. Only this one probably here. The fill rec was 60. I know I put it 50 normally, and I probably increased this or bumped this up with 10 to 60. So sorry about that. I didn't notice this adjustment. I thought I reset it all fully. So anyway, but of course you can adjust that one to your liking. So now we have this, and I guess the next part, and that will be next video, we're going to put in a font awesome icon here. Make sure the color is nice, and we have a proper icon as well for the value